I really thought this decision would be a lot harder to make than it has been. But I think the fact it's actually been quite easy is a signal that it's the right decision. Stick around to the end of the video because I have another announcement. We're double announcing things today. Hello, welcome songwriter, welcome back to Radical Songwriting. I'm so chuffed you're here. I have some big news. This is big. So I'll just go right ahead and say it. Radical Songwriting is closing down. And I want to explain why. I want to walk you through my reasons why I've decided that after 3 years of teaching songwriting, teaching music, teaching songwriters, mentoring musicians, courses, workshops, master classes, and all in between, after 3 years of all of that, I've decided no more. 3 years ago, I almost to the day, actually, I set up Radical Songwriting. I was living in a brand new country where I didn't speak the language, and I just had this idea of turning my knowledge and expertise as a songwriter and a music teacher into an online course, and that's what I did. I had no strategy, I had no experience, and so the last 3 years have been amazing. They have been such a journey, and I've learned so much about myself, about music, about other people, and how to do this whole thing. However, here we are. My first reason that I'm going to share with you why I've decided to close down Radical Songwriting. I feel like I need to reclaim my own creative energy for me. So I realized not that long ago, actually, that the same energy that I use for myself to write songs and to be creative and to be an artist and to be a musician, it's the same energy that I pull from when I'm helping other people. Over the last 3 years, I have struggled to be able to really enjoy my own creativity, and it started to feel like a fight, because when I stop working, for example, if I have holidays or if I have just time off from Radical Songwriting, I'm way more creative, right? And it's not necessarily because I'm not working or doing anything else. It's just I'm not talking or thinking about songs and about music. And so it takes so much creativity to run this business because of the nature of the content, because of the people as well that I'm working with and working for, my students. We're all musicians, right? And we're all really passionate about this. But I want to step back from teaching this subject and reclaim that for me. And I want it to be personal and private again. I also felt, especially this year, that there was a real pressure to release songs and release music. Of course, practice what you preach. And that pressure, even though no one else has been knocking on my door, but it just felt like it was suffocating, something that I want to feel organic and natural again. And it's where I am currently in my life. And so that was my first main reason was, okay, I really want to reclaim my own creativity. And I feel like whilst I'm running this current business, the way I'm running it and the content that I'm teaching, I can't do that in the way that I want to do that. And so that is what it is. And so that's my first reason. So the second reason for closing down Radical Songwriting is because I want to explore some new business opportunities. So since 2010, I've been a musician, full-time musician since 2010. Music has been my bread and butter my entire adult life. And 3 years ago, when I set up Radical Songwriting, I had just moved to a brand new country. I didn't speak the language. And I found myself in a state in the middle of the pandemic where just everything, as with many of us, went upside down in terms of work. And so I set up Radical Songwriting, initially not really knowing what I was doing, let's be honest. I knew I wanted to create an online course, but I didn't know it was going to become this big business with all these arms and legs. And I definitely didn't know I'd be serving literally thousands of songwriters. I didn't know that it was going to be my job, really. And And I look back at that version of me and I think, oh, how naive. But also how brave, and that's cool. And I really did follow my intuition a lot of the time. But I'm at a place now where I have gained so many more skills than I had 3 years ago. And I also look at the future, and I feel like music for me, kind of coming back to my original point, music for me now needs to be reclaimed as mine's. And I don't want to use music as a means to make money any longer. I want to explore some other opportunities in my life that have opened up to me that don't involve music at all and involve me doing completely different things. And these opportunities are going to take a lot of time and energy, and I'm very, very excited about them. And so it's like a whole new chapter is about to begin. And for that chapter to begin, I must close this chapter. And so that's my second reason, is I really want to explore some new business and career opportunities and see what I can do with it. And this Radical Songwriting, this business, has been an incredible teacher. It has been the most valuable teacher I think I've ever had in my life, actually, interestingly, even though it's not a person. But it's led me here. And so that's my second reason. My third reason and final reason, and I don't want this to turn into something that feels really negative, so I'm going to really try my best, but I'm really frustrated by how our society treats or mistreats artists and the pursuit of art. There's one thing that we all have in common. We're all sensitive, creative people who have something to say that's important to us. And we take that and we go into an industry that could not give less of a shit about that. And instead, what we see and what we think are important is all these metrics and streams, and can you make a living from this, and can you get contracts and deals, and it's really hard for us not to put on that mindset and think it's our own. And what I found through running this company online is that when I look at other people in the same space as me, the competitors, you would call them, they are employing tactics, in my opinion, that involve dangling the carrot in front of songwriters, become a full-time XYZ musician, producer, songwriter, whatever, insert here. And other businesses that are talking about how to get streams, other businesses that are asking people to sign up for ridiculously expensive packages and containers and consultancy. And when really at the end of the day, what I'm focusing on is songwriting and creativity. But it's become more and more frustrating to try and convince people that that's important. And I think I've got to a stage now where I've realised that in our society and in our capitalist world and system that we're in, I'm always going to have to convince people that creativity is important enough in and of itself. And that hurts me as a person, because I am also a musician and a songwriter, and I'm not immune to any of those other things either. And I've got to a stage where I just don't want to have to do that anymore. I don't want to have to convince people that their creativity is that important. I don't think music in its essence is about popularity, and I really don't believe that a successful musician needs to obsess over that stuff either. I think the more we focus on our craft and our art and why we're doing this and who we are because of it, the more we focus on our values as people, the less ego we're going to have. Ego is something that in our particular realm of work with musicians and songwriters, it's going to work for you or it's going to work against you, and arguably it always works against you. But doing Radical Songwriting has really forced me to confront these frustrations that I have every day, and I just feel more and more and more it's like pushing against the tidal wave and pushing against the tide. And I think I've made a difference to a beautiful group of people. But to be completely and utterly honest with you, I feel like the work that I am doing is a substitute for the work that we need to have in our societies, in our high schools, in our colleges, in our universities, in our community halls, if those even exist anymore, in our communities, that to be able to learn the arts, to have access to the arts. I really wish I could live in a world where that was completely free and was abundant and was not questioned and was never considered as a luxury or the one thing that we can cut in our budgets or in our funding. And unfortunately, what I'm seeing is a world that's moving more and more and more towards that space. And the more we move towards that space, the harder it is for us artists, not only to make our own art, but to help each other make art as well. And I feel like my advocacy journey has to end here. And I have been an advocate for the arts my entire life. My entire life, I've been involved in third sector organisations, charities, working with companies that at the forefront of what they do is their ethos and their values. All of these people rely on funding. I run a company that doesn't rely on funding. And I'm just at the end of the road. So I'm at the point now where I'm ready to step back from that advocacy, from that kind of activism side, the radical part of radical songwriting, and move into something new. I am a passionate human being, have many things I'm passionate about, and I do feel like there's a seed of activism that has been sown in me since a very young age. And even though I'm maybe not the loudest and I shout about it the most, I do always have my values at the absolute forefront of everything that I'm doing. And I feel like now with radical songwriting, I'm ready to pour those values into a different space and see what I can do with that, and pour my creativity into something creative, not a business anymore. So those are the main reasons that I've made this decision. And I just want to thank everybody who's been part of Radical Songwriting over the last 3 years, my students, people I've worked with one-to-one, anyone who's taken courses, classes, anyone who has came along on the ride with me. It's been really, really exciting and really fun. And like I said, I started this with pretty much nothing, really, hardly any money, and in a new place, a new country. And I kind of don't believe that this is where we've taken it. So I'm so excited to kind of see what comes next. And I'm just really, really grateful for where we're at right now today in this moment, which is the most important thing. Before I leave, if you're a current student inside Radical Songwriting Academy, you don't need to do anything. It's not going to disappear. You're still going to be able to go through all the classes and the lessons as normal, so don't worry. However, if you're someone who never managed to come onto the academy or any of the other workshops that I do, like Authentic Songwriting Experience or any of the other ones, then I have great news. We're running a sale. We're running a final song sale because this is my final song, and it's 50% off everything in the song shop until the 25th of November. Everything is now available as an on-demand self-paced course. So that's 2 whole weeks, 50% off. So that means the academy you can get for under £130. Like, that's insane. I will never ever be doing a sale again, because after the 25th of November, everything on the song shop will go back to full price, and then that's it. It's there for legacy. You can grab things as and when you may need them. That's what's happening. This is a one-time sale. So if you do want to grab yourself a complete bargain and have something that is structured, that has been well thought through, that has had over 100 songwriters come through it, like the Radical Songwriting Academy, or something a little bit lighter that's more like a 3-day challenge, like the Authentic Songwriting Experience, you can do it self-paced at home, then you can grab that for way cheaper than it usually is. That is just my parting gift and my way to say thank you. You can head to radicalsongwriting.com/song shop, all one word. and go and see what's available and go and grab yourself a little bargain before Christmas, New Year hits. Get a head start on your songwriting before 2025. So that's me for now. I'm going to post a couple more videos before we fully tie everything up. One last big thank you, and thanks so much for everything, for being here, and I will see you in the next video.